Hello and welcome back. It's puzzle time with Sudoku Sleuth, and today we're playing Shifter Lines 104. Now, I just absolutely stunned with just how many shifter line puzzles are out there, shifter dots, etc. from guBBLOR. It's just been, a prolific constructor. And as we almost took a bit of a hiatus to take a look at this Christmas series, he's just been pouring more of them out. So we do have a bit of a catch-up to do. Although I'm actually quite glad to see that his puzzles have been doing quite well without really any assistance from anyone featuring them, because this puzzle has already been solved by 600 odd people, and it's got a phenomenal rating of 92%. So well done. Please keep up the good work, guBBLOR. Now, part of the reason for this may actually be down to the fact that this is actually a collaboration. So enough of all of that introduction. Let's take a look at the actual puzzle and what we have in store. So we've got Shifter Lines 104, Shift Your Foglights. I know many of you absolutely love fog-based Sudoku puzzles like we have today. And this is, like I mentioned, a collaboration between guBBLOR and EFlatMinor. And we featured many puzzles from EFlatMinor that you may remember from the past, and he's also another phenomenal constructor. So, quick refresher of the rules, particularly the shifter lines since we haven't done them in a while. First rule, pretty obvious, normal Sudoku rules apply, so that means place the digits 1 to 9 once each in every row, in every column, and in every 3x3 box as outlined by the thicker black lines. No repeats in any of these. I'll come back to shifter lines last. I'm going to go with Kropki first. So a black dot between cells indicates cell values with a 2-to-1 ratio, and a white dot between cells indicates cells with consecutive values. Not all dots are shown. Now, thankfully, in today's fog, I'm not going to have to go far to actually try and show some of these examples. So you can see here, half hidden by the fog is a black dot connecting these two cells, and half hidden by the fog is a white dot connecting these two cells. So if this happens to be a 2 in here, for this to be in a 2-to-1 ratio, that could be a 1, literally 2 to 1, or a 4. As long as one is double the other, we are good to go. Now, for consecutive, and in general, as you're going to see me solve some of these things, you're going to see that clearly the next one has to be a consecutive digit with it, and that will be 1 or 3. Just bear in mind, one would be even, the other one would be odd, otherwise they couldn't be consecutive. 2 odd digits are never going to be consecutive. 2 even digits are never going to be consecutive. We also have x. So adjacent cells connected with an x must sum to a 10, and not all x's are shown. Now, we don't have any x's that are shown in today's grid, but I think I can actually just about draw one. Yes, you can. I don't know if that's even visible. Maybe with that x. How about I pick one that's not covered by the line? There you go. So all that's saying is that these two cells that are connected by an x must sum up to 10. So if I have a 2 in here, this cell would have to be an 8 to make sure that they are indeed connected and adding up to 10. We also have, obviously, fog of war. The entire puzzle pretty much is covered with fog. Now, as you place correct digits, it will clear the fog from the surrounding cells. Now, I'm not necessarily going to demonstrate that, because the second I place a correct digit, I would actually be solving it. But if this cell here was indeed a 2, it would essentially reveal the neighboring cells, such as these, and hopefully gives us more clues to help progress the puzzle. Now, I guess the crowning rule of all of this is a shifter line, of course. So adjacent digits within the same box on a shifter line share both parity, even/odd, and polarity, low/high. Whenever the line enters a new box, either the parity or the polarity shifts, never both. Now, shifter lines can never have a 5 on them either, and digits may repeat on the lines. So essentially, we've got these lime-colored lines, and what it's saying is that these two digits, because you can see that the line doesn't seem to stop here, otherwise it would have stopped in the middle of the cell, it's continuing up there. And these two have to be the same polarity and parity. So if this was a 2, for this digit to be both the same polarity and parity, it would have to be a 4, as in it's a low digit, 1, 2, 3, or 4, and it's an even digit similar to the 2. Now, when I cross into the next into the next box, I have to shift one of them. Either I'm now putting in odd digits, such as 1 or 3, or I'm putting in high even digits. So I can shift the polarity but keep the same parity, and that would be 6 or 8. So all of these are sort of possible outcomes of these shifter lines. Key thing to point out is, I guess because of the ambiguity of whether a 5 is low or high, no 5s are allowed on any shifter line. And normally it's a phenomenal part of the solution path, but because the puzzle today is covered in fog, I can't place any 5s to start. So, if you're not intimidated by the sinister feel of that thumbnail, covered in fog, looking all red and green and eerie, you can play this puzzle with a link in the description down below as usual. And with that said, I'm going to restart the clock and see how I get on. So I genuinely think with my examples, and this is why I sort of stopped laboring the rules, is that I was probably on the right track here, that this is probably 2 and 4. So just a quick recap of black Kropkis. They could be 1, 2, 4, and 8. They could be 3 or 6. And there's, of course, the non-Kropki sets, which are 5, 7, and 9. Can't ever have 5, 7, or 9 on a black Kropki. The double would be a 10. The half would be a non-integer number, so that's not going to work. Now, the second that you have 3 cells that are contiguous, you know that you can't be dealing with a 3, 6 or the 5, 7, 9 set. It is from 1, 2, 4, and 8. And the digits in the middle, and I don't know how far this black Kropki dot continues, whether it's in that direction or in this direction, it could be 4 of them for all we know, means that they always have to be 2, 4. Think of it almost like a number line, where these are the options that you have, and you're selecting 3 of them. Whichever one you select, they're always going to have in the middle in here 1 of 2 and 4. Now, once this is 2 and 4, this is clearly 2 and 4. Now, I think the unfortunate part of this is, if this is, actually this is, I'll come back to that. I think I can do 1, 2, 4. That would be one way of doing it. So I'm shifting parity here, not polarity. But I think the other possibility would have been a 4 and a 2, but then I shift polarity with an 8. So unfortunately, I believe this is actually entirely doable. And it's not resolved at this point. Neither is sadly, oh actually no it is. So once you've placed 2 and 4, remember back to sort of that number line example, I've selected these 2, I've pencil marked them. Clearly, I can't have a black Kropki pair that uses the 1 or 8 because I've already used the 2 and 4, which is the only pairs available for these 2 extreme digits. So this is from 3, 6, and the white dot tells us the order. If that was a 3, this would have to be a consecutive digit, which is 2 or 4, and they're both unavailable. So that's 6, that's 3. We now have something that adds up to 10, and all the low digits except for 1 are gone. You always need a low digit with a high digit for a 10. 2, 3, and 4 are gone, so this is a 1, 9 pair. And then these are, well, the 6 could be 5 or 7, not helpful. What else do we have in here? We need 2 consecutive digits. It's going to be 8 and 7 for sure. From the remaining possibilities, I need the 8 in here. The 5 is not going to be connected to it. So that's 8, 5. That's, sorry, 8, 7. That's a 5. I should actually delete these examples before I confuse anyone. We're going to have to keep going east because we still don't have enough information to disambiguate this one. It absolutely can still be 8, 4, 2 or 1, 2, 4. What do we know here though? Frankly, not a lot. The fact that this is 7 or 8 doesn't help us a lot with these shifter lines, if I'm honest, because it gives us like a plethora of options. So something that I'm sort of tempted to do is, because I went through this in one of my earlier solves of these shifter lines, where if you think about kind of the types of digits, 1 or 3, 2 or 4, no, let me do kind of in that direction. Not 5, 7 or 9, and 6 or 8. So in essence, remember, you can only ever change polarity or parity. If I go around this way, the 1 or 3 can become 2 or 4. I've changed parity. I can also go down, like think of this as a circle, basically, or a square. You know, I can move down and shift the polarity, but not the parity. And in essence, you end up with almost like this bifurcation. Bifurcation is a bad word here, where in essence, these two can never be connected, and these two can never be connected. So in a way, you can actually color code the puzzle and say, this is a blue digit, this is an orange digit from this set. And you can just about do that in general. And we may come back to this and do this again later, but I just wanted to sort of have it in here because I may do a bit of kind of quick thinking trying to figure out what on earth is going on here. So let's imagine that this is a 7, so it's in here. I need clearly 2 consecutive digits, and 2 consecutive digits. So essentially, if this is 7, one of these would have to be 1, 3, and plausibly it could be this line because 3 is not available here. And the other one would have to be 6, 8, which again is quite plausible with 6, 8 in there. And the 6, 8 would end up with 2 or 4 up here, again plausible to actually add up to 10. So this is what happens if this is a 7. Now, the other possibility, of course, is this is an 8. And I need 2 and 4 on one of these lines, and that immediately breaks because 2 and 4 is in both of these cells. So if I try and make any of these lines 2 and 4, which I would need to if this is an 8, one of these is 2 and 4, one of these is 7, 9, I would immediately break this Sudoku puzzle. So this is, in fact, a 7. This is, in fact, an 8. My example earlier with the 1, 3 and... what was the other one? 2, 4, no. 6, 8, excuse me, is totally plausible. In fact, it's the correct answer. This would have to be from 2 and 4. If that was a 2, that would be a 3 and it's not available. Well, if that was a 2, this would be 1 or 3 and they're both not available. So that's clearly the 4. That's the 6. That's the 8. That's not the 3. I've already pencil marked this. This has to be the 5. Is this giving me anything in here? Nope. Of course not. And now we're left with the following digits, which are, I'm going to say 2, 7, and 9. Except that's not 7, and that's not 9, just Sudoku. And we're left with many examples once again. Can I disambiguate this? Probably. Probably. So the most likely answer is this is 7 or 9 and this is this cell. And then I need, again, kind of orange cells in here. Now, because 6 and 8 and 3 are gone from this cell, this would have to be a 1 if this was 7 or 9. Still not broken. And then down here, I'm pretty sure this would have to be from 6 or 8. I don't think I can use... No, it doesn't really say that explicitly in the rules. But anyway, if this is 7 or 9, clearly 1 and 3 are not available. This would have to be 6 or 8. 6 is not available. 8 it is. So far, that works. Now, if this is 2, I would need to have... Is it? Yeah, because they're opposite. I've always needed orange digits. And this would have to be a 1. So it actually doesn't matter. This is a 1. And again, because this is 1, 3, and 6, this is an 8. That's just all forced. Wow. And it doesn't actually help us disambiguate what this is. What I do know, though, is I have A7 or 9 and A2 or 4 to complete this row. Because one of them could be in here. So I'd be left with 1, 7, 9 and A2, 4. Let's think about this for a second. Now, clearly, the 7, 9, in fact, it does tell me that this is a 2. And the way I'm sort of thinking about this is, if I don't have, no, sorry, if this is a 2, I've broken the puzzle. And if I place a 2 in here, where does 7 and 9 go in row 3? They would both have to be in there. And I've already told, went through earlier, that a 7, 9 can never be on a black dot. So this is not a 7, 9 pair. This has to be a 7, 9. Therefore, there's a 2, 4 in here and a 7, 9. That's got to be the second 7, 9. This is a 2, 4, which forces another 2, 4 up here. Goodness me, are we back to this pattern that I can't seem to break with a 1, 8? It feels like it. I mean, not all dots are given, so this is, yeah. Well, the 2, 4 gives me a 9 here, which gives me a 7 there, which gives me a 9 here. I should be able to also write in this digit is a 5. These are going to be, well, the 2 in row 1 can't be in this box because I've already written it in, so that's a 2. Well, and that was a 7 anyway. This is now 3, 6, and 7. This 9 on a shifter line. So this is either 1, 3, or 6, 8. A lot of possibilities. It's not a 1 though, because that would put a 1 in here on an X. That would require a second 9 and break the puzzle. So it's not 1. It can be 3 with a 7. It's also, interestingly, not an 8 because we have a 1, 8 pair. So it could be, I guess, 6 with a 4. And I'm clearly missing something if I can't figure out what's next. 3, 7 would force a 6 in here, 6, 4. None of it seems to be problematic, if I'm honest. And the 9, yeah, I've looked at all the possibilities. It can't be 8, it can't be 1, it could be 3 or 6, and therefore it's 7 or 4. Well, not 1, 8. What are these? So this is not a 1, 9. This is not 2, 8. Presumably, I can have it as 3, 7. And it can't be 4, 6 because they both see this cell. So this is 3, 7. No clue on the order, which gives me the 6, gives me the 4. This has to be a 2. We're continuing the shifted line. This is the only one that it can be. This actually has to be, oh goodness, we're back to 1 and 8 again, aren't we? No, this time it is definitely a 1, thankfully. And this is not a 6. 3 and 7 are still available. Doesn't help me with the 1, 8 here. This 3, 7, well, they're in different boxes, so I don't have really much of a way of a limitation on what's going on here. Let's think about this white Kropki dot for a second. So it's not 1, because the 2 is not available. It's not 3, 2 and 4 is not available. 5 also doesn't work because we've got 4 and 6 gone. So this is a 7, 8, 9 set with an 8 for sure to be able to connect these two cells. You need an even and an odd. And therefore this is 1, this is 2, this is 4. Finally, this is resolved 4, 8. And we have progress. Does it actually help me up here? Not really. This was a 1-star difficulty rated puzzle, by the way. It's not playing like one, I've got to be honest. But it's a nice challenge, worthy of a weekend puzzle for sure. So these are, there's a 7, 9, a 3, and a 5. 3 is clearly not in here. 3 is in one of these two cells. I'm going to have to delete my reference here. Kind of kept it for too long already. And this is 3, 5, 7, or 9. That's not a 3 or 7 actually. That's just 5 or 9. These two cells we have a 3, 7, and an 8. What are these cells? So I need another 5, 9. And then I need 2 and 4. 2 is limited to here. That's the extent of it. Okay. maybe about this 10. So it's not 2, 8, clearly. It's not 4, 6. So this is 1, 9 or 3, 7, which is actually quite tricky if you think about it, because they're both odd digits. So essentially I'm changing polarity as I'm jumping across this shifted line. So if that's a 3, this would have to be a high digit, a high odd digit, and it's not 7, so it'd be 9 and 1. And because that's a shifted line that's going down, that would be 1, 3, and it breaks because there is no 3 available. So that doesn't work. This can't be a 3. This is a 7. This is a 3. That's a 1. That's a 3. This is now going down in size, in polarity. So the 7 could be 1 or 3 in here, which would make this a 7 or 9. And actually another 7 or 9 on the shifted line. This 1, 3 now jumps back in here, and it can't be a 9. Not because of some explicit rule reason. It's just, remember, this shifted line isn't ending, it's continuing. So whatever these two cells are, they're the same polarity and parity. And if that was a 9, that would require a second 7. So this is actually going to be 2, 4. And I have a 4 up there telling me that this is a 2. That's a 4. I'll come back to this in a moment. What amazes me so far is it's not giving me a lot of information, if I'm honest. I'm kind of expecting it will sort of break somewhere, but that's a 1, that's a 9. It's sort of making you work every step of the way, isn't it? These 4s put a 2, 4 pair in here. That's a 5, 9. In fact, it's just a 5. 9. These are not 9 anymore. That's a 7, 8 pair. These are not 7 or 9 because they're taken up. They're written. They're pencil marked already. This 3, 5 still not resolved. This 7, 8 not resolved. It does remove a 3 from up here. It does remove a 7 from up there. Doesn't help me write in any digits though. What next? So options for this cell. 1 is available, and then it would have to jump to whatever. We'll think about that in a moment. 2 and 4 are not available. 3 is not available. 5 is not available. 7 and 9. Oh, and of course 8. 6 not available. Now let's think about what does that mean across this shifted line. And I'm kind of surprised I'm having to pursue this. It's just there's really not a lot of information in this puzzle. Have I missed anything more obvious? I don't think so. So, carrying on with this 1, 8, 9, if that's a 1, this is not 2, 4, I've written them in. This is not 7, 9, I've pencil marked them in. That's not a 1. Now, if that's a 9, I could go back down to a 1 or 3, which would be available. Is it? Let's think about this. 9, 7, 9, 1. So it would be a 3. If that's a 9, that would be a 3. Or I can go for a high even digit, and the 8 is not available, so that would be a 6, which is available in this box. Now, if that's an 8, I am either going to a high odd digit, which is not available, or a low even digit, which is also not available because the 2, 4 is gone. So that's just a 9. This 7, 9 can go to either a low odd digit or a high even digit. So that could be 6 or 1, 3. We have a triplet here. And therefore, I can pencil mark these two as there's a second 2, 4 and a 9. What are these? That 9 gives me a 7, a 9, a 1. That's not 1, that's just a 3, 6 pair now. This is 2, 4, 9. What are these cells now? I can't have a 5 on an X because it would require a second 5 to get to a 10. So this is the 5. That's 3 or 6. 6 would require a 4, which is not available. That's a 3. That's a 7, which now gives me a 6, a 3, I should be able to pencil mark what these are. In fact, can I just actually write these in? So it's not 1. And I've got 2, 4 here. So this is not going to be a 2, 4 pair. And the only option would be a 4, 8. Because otherwise, if I try and put 2 on here, I would break this cell. So that's 2, that's 4, that's a 4, 8. That's got to be a 5, because that's a 4, that's a 2, 9. And these are 1 and 6. I'll probably resolve some of these, yeah. That's 8, that's 7, that's 5, that's 3. This is 6 or 4, not resolved. This is a known digit, that's just a 1. We need in here a 9, nope, we need an 8 and a 6, and that 8 tells us the order. That's 8, not 9, 6. Let's just keep going now. Yeah, still not resolved, not resolved, not resolved. Really surprising. What do we need in here? I need a 1, a 5, and a 7. Look at this 5 and 7. Looking at this cell, this is just undo, undo, undo. This is just a 1. No, I don't need a 1 in here, apparently. What do I need? No, I don't need a 7. I need a 1, a 5, and an 8. Excuse me. And that's an 8 because there's a 1 and 5 staring at it. That's a 1, 5 pair. We need in here 2, 7, and 9, I'm going to say. That's not a 7. This is 3, 4, and 6. That's not 3, that's a 4, 6 pair. That would be a 2, 9. That's just a 9 now because I've got a 2 already in a column. That's a 2. These are not 2. That 9 doesn't actually help me resolve these. That 4, 6 doesn't help me resolve anything. That 3, 4, 6 probably will. Probably. 3 with a 7 works. 4, 6 with a second 4, 6. 3 with a 7 works also across shifter lines because I'm going from low odd to high odd. And 4, 6 works because I'm going from... But 4, 6 doesn't. No, 4, 6 does. And 3, 7 doesn't. Reason I'm sort of saying that is this shifter line you can see is continuous. So I need 2 of the same polarity and parity. And just Sudoku, it includes a 2. So that's 2 and 4. That's a 6. That's a 7. That's a 3. That's a 6. This is in fact a 4 paired with a 6 because 8's not available. And that probably helps me solve a bunch of things now. 8, 4. Do I have the 2, 9? Yeah, I do. That's the 9. That's the 2. That's the 5. That's the 1. That's the 7. That's the 9. This 6 gives me the 4 and the 3. I now know this 8. And it's just Sudoku for a finish. It's a phenomenal puzzle, gentlemen. EFlatMinor and guBBLOR. And that's a solution to today's puzzle. Certainly worthy of the 600 plus solves, and I'm hoping that you guys will get many more for this series because they're just absolutely phenomenal. Yeah, I would probably overall agree with the difficulty rating. Probably took a slightly longer time because I was more laborious in my explanations than usual today. But I think this pattern not resolving for so long probably took me a bit by surprise. The rest of it, though, it all was very approachable. I hope that you guys enjoyed the puzzle and the video. And I'll see you back for the next one. Bye-bye for now.